in terms of this dungeon
Oh god.
that I should be at. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
That's honestly.
But so like I'm pretty much, I know I'm not getting the platinum. It's not a platinum run, so I don't really care a whole lot. But I just don't want to miss out on stuff. Is my biggest issue. And so far, it's just more of, oh,
You've missed out on quite a bit. It seems like.
Well, I have and I haven't. Like so, like I'm way further ahead in certain areas, but not as ahead in others. Like right now, the way it was structured was this side quest to go in this dungeon that's 15 levels ahead is actually what you're supposed to do after the main dungeon for that section of the game. So because you know there's certain big dungeons, for lack of a better phrase, in the game, right?
Right, like the cathedral for the first area, right?
Exactly. There's another dungeon like that you're gonna run into when you keep playing the game.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So they had to do the side quest that was the developers expect you to do after this second main dungeon. Well, I tried doing it before. I was very underleveled for it.
Mm-hmm.
So now when the guide's like, hey, go to this dungeon, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go to that dungeon. So I'm gonna go to this other side quest I should have done earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I go do those side quests, and my favorite feature of the game and how I know I'm overleveled, you just slap enemies and they'll just die. You don't have to go into battle, you just die. Yeah, I just did a dungeon where that whole dungeon was like, even the boss was practically that level. Where I could have slapped them. If the game didn't stop me from slapping them, because I'm pretty sure the game would have stopped me if I tried to do this. But I slapped the boss and I probably would have been able to get around, you know, how to fight him in a normal turn-based battle. That's how overleveled I was for that dungeon. But yeah, switching between guides is kind of brutal. But I love it. I'm adoring this game. It's a blast. It really is a very it deserves the hyping it's gotten so far. For sure.
No, I mean, so far, again, I'm having a lot of fun. Just unfortunately, it's just one of those long games, so it's just like you feel like you're doing so much, and you're just like, oh, this is all I've done.
Yeah, it is not a game where you feel good about the time spent, because like I've barely scratched the surface and I'm 20 fucking hours in.
Yep.
Like, good God.
Yeah,
dude.
do not believe any in-game clocks or the PS5 clock or whatever PC clock or anything like that. I do not believe those clocks.
I mean, just going off of the way the game's framed, I'm a third of the way through the game, maybe. But I feel like that's a case of I get to this part of the section of the game where after the events have happened that they've laid out for you, some big twist is gonna happen. It's like Zelda. It's like Ocarina of Time, where it's like you do the first 3 dungeons and you're like, okay, I'm gonna fight Ganondorf. No, you're not gonna fight Ganondorf.
Yeah, you're not even close to fighting Ganondorf.
Exactly. You just went to the Temple of Time. That's what I expect this game to do to me.
Aren't there 5 characters or something like that in total that you...
I don't even know anymore, man. Because the problem is, I kind of the gist of... I know for sure the full party is 4 people.
Right.
I think there's 8 party members, but I'm not sure.
There's 8? Oh, shit. Damn, I thought there was only like 4.
There might be 8. No, there's more than 4 for sure. I know at the very minimum there's 6. I think there might be 8 though. But the whole, what if Persona was a traditional fantasy RPG, very much applies to this game. It very much is like just like that. Which is great. Sign me up. Like, I'm all for it. Which it goes both ways though, because I find the whole Persona formula to be a bit stressful. Like, I don't follow guides for games like Final Fantasy or like the Mana games. Because I can just grind all goddamn day. With this game, I have to actually plan my days out. It's stressful.
It is. It's very stressful. And I can see a lot of people not liking the day system. I think the only thing I have against the day system is that I wish you could take advantage of the mornings Instead, you only get the afternoon and then the evening.
Yeah, but I will say it's a little less rigorous than Persona is. Like Persona, like, well, 5 was pretty lenient, especially Royal. It's pretty lenient. By the end of the game, if you followed a guide, you pretty much had a whole month to yourself. You could just do jack all. Like it wouldn't matter, right? Like OG P3, like you'd have to follow a guide to get 100% full stop. So, oh Jesus, Joseph and Mary.
Jeez, what'd you do?
I fell down, and like there's a lot of guys on this thing. In case you weren't aware.
Nah, I didn't see it. It's a terrible throw.
You judging my throwing arm?
Oh god, there's 2 snipers over by their base. They're fuckers.
Sniper, no sniping.
Seriously.
Okay.
They've got it moving. The Kingfish have started their push. The platform's contested. Let's see who comes out on top.
We've got to get these snipers out of here.
Wow. Not only are there snipers around, they're very, very spread out.
Yeah, I'm trying to find them right now.
I was trying to spot one of them, and yeah, he just disco appeared.
There he is. I found one of them. Where did he go? I just had a sniper in my midst, and I don't know where he went. I seriously have no idea where this guy went. There you freaking are.
She kicked the guy's ass.
Threw a grenade in there somehow, but it missed.
You work on that throwing arm, friend.
Ow. And now a sniper behind me is hitting me.
Sniper, no sniping.
Well, they're definitely going to win, so...
We must all bum rush it. Stand there and die. Just to slow him down.
Well, that's what you definitely call a warm-up match.
Amen to that. Them's the breaks. That's how it goes.
Yep. But yeah, no, I don't expect to finish Metaphor for like a couple months. It's just
it's thick.
Well, especially if my team and I decide that we're gonna do Dragon Age, which comes out in like a week and a half.
A week? But what about Pokemon?
There's no Pokemon game this year.
Pokemon TCG Pocket.
F that shit. I ain't touching that shit.
Gotcha.
We know you love a good gotcha game, Lemon. Okay,
I love a good TCG. There's a difference. Don't ask me how much I throw into Magic. But it definitely does not help my backlog. Like, so trying to finish a JRPG, but all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, here's a mobile game that might interest you. I'm like, okay, I can feel hours getting pissed away in that game if I enjoy it. The Pokemon TCG Pocket, because I spent a shit ton of time in Magic Arena before I got tired of pissing away money on that game to try to stay competitive.
More boots on the platform will mean it moves faster and the cash will stack up quicker. But our contestants will need to watch out for sneaky hijacks.
Sneaky hijacks. Oh my gosh, whatever will we do?
Competition is trembling in the wake of the shock and awe as they're first to claim the platform. No more niceties out there.
It's all business from here.
The hell is? Oh, hello. Ah! Ah! On fire!
Fire, fire, fire.
We got a guy out to your right. Yeah, over there. A little bit more to your right where I'm going. Right over here. Jeez, talk about explosions left and right in this. Got one. Oh, geez, they're all over here, dude. They are all over here. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I can tell. It's kind of ridiculous.
Oh, God damn.
Where's this fucker at?
Special delivery. Frag grenade out.
Jesus Christ.
They got me.
Holy shit.
The shock and awe are now in the driver's seat and advancing.
Those sons of bitches.
I'm actually getting revived. Wow.
Yeah, by Johnny Cash's son loading. So I did there.
Huh? What?
Loading. So you're getting revived by Johnny Cash's son loading.
Oh.
So I did there. His name was Loading Cash.
Yeah, loading
Johnny
cash.
Teams are refusing.
Look, just because I make some highbrow ass jokes doesn't mean I'm not funny.
And it's
They're
debatable.
just above. They're just above. Your intellect is all. Or age at that matter.
Flawless
Johnny
skull.
Cash
Oh,
is
behind us,
very
behind us,
relevant.
behind us.
I know. I see. Get the.
This is definitely one of the biggest, like, explosion games I've played here in a while.
Yeah, like this guy just came up behind me with a grease gun. Like, what the hell? Where did this guy come from?
And they're off back to their base. The shock and awe take control.
Oh, I actually got that guy. Wow. just keep destroying everything, folks.
Explosions. Fire.
Fire explosions.
Fire. Boom.
Boom goes the
It's like
dynamite.
Gears of War. The
I think
God, what are
so.
those guys called? it's been so long since I fucking played that game. What are those grenade launcher in Gears of War called? Boom.
I don't remember.
Oh my God.
It's been forever since I played Gears.
Ditto. I mean, oh shit! Get the hell off my goddamn platform, you sack of shit! It's my platform. Okay. Okay.
Is once again the center of attention.
Gears of War.
Jeez, they are all over that
Shot.
platform
There
right
we
now.
go. The boom shot.
Oh God, sword dude, get him! Ow! God damn.
In the end, we just like walked around like boom. Boom. That was all it did. I miss Gears of War.
Half of this match has been played.
Or the torque bow. Man, I want some Gears of War.
Bit is going to be
Oh, you're maybe getting your dream with whatever that new Gears of War game is, but I'm sure that's like 3 to 4 years out at minimum.
Adam, yeah, it's not fair, man.
managed to take control.
Oh, I mean, you know, Xbox is desperate and they're like, yeah, we got to show off. We'll show off this like minute trailer from Gears, and yeah, it looks really nice and cool that Gears is finally getting a game. But like, if anyone actually thinks that game's coming out in a year, like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it's a shame. Cause like, I feel like torque bows are up there with like Spartan lasers, where it just feels so good getting those kills. Like, nothing feels better than getting my laser kills. Cause like, you have to charge it up, you have to have decent aim for it. Like, it just feels so good getting a laser kill. Same with the torque bow. Torque bow is extra special though, because like, it wasn't an instant kill. You could see on their person, there's a flashing, you know, effectively dynamite on them, and they sort of sit there and realize that yeah, they're dead. They could try. They
Behind
could
you. Why are you not taking the guy literally on your ass?
I have to get on the platform, guy.
But you kill the guy first.
No, because that's the platform for.
Ow! Poison! Poison!
My guy.
Ow! Look out for that Looney Tunes piano.
There's no one else here.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, now there is.
Remember, look for invisible small dudes.
Oh shit, they're multiplying. Yep, I lost it.
Got one.
Flashbang out. Special delivery.
We'll try to get you, but if you have the chance to revive, just revive yourself.
Yeah, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I actually got that guy. Damn. Spider-Man 2
Excessive
is
when you
going
need
for
time.
almost 25 trade-in, already platinum. Do you think it's worth keeping? Silent Hill is calling. I mean, if you're limited on
Wait,
funds, then I say trade it in if you already platinumed it. So
Wait, say that again. Which game?
he said Spider-Man 2 is almost $25 trade-in, already platinum the game. Do you think it's worth keeping or trading in to go towards Silent Hill?
Trade that in. I guarantee you, Sony will give it out in about a year.
What, Spider-Man?
Yeah.
They never
guarantee
gave
it.
the first one out. I don't see why they give the second one out.
Well, they gotta prop up PlayStation Plus somehow.
Yeah, but they also have to make money on a name like Spider-Man.
They made their money.
I mean, they technically did. The game sold really well, so.
Play something cool. Play some Silent Hill. You already got a platinum. Why not, right?
Yeah. Unless you're somebody who likes to go in and, you know, swing around New York and things like that, or play the game in a couple of years, then I'd say trade it in. If funds are that tight for you, is what I would say. If you're someone who likes to keep your games though, then I would just keep the game and the F.
In terms of games that hold their value, that's not gonna be one of them, I don't think. Just because there's so fucking many copies of it. Disgaea, it's not.
Disgaea?
Stop. Disgaea, yeah. Disgaea. You never heard Disgaea?
No.
The strategy RPG Disgaea.
No. Okay. I mean, you're literally throwing an RPG into an ocean of RPGs with that name, so.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, it's not like, what I'm saying is, Spider-Man's not gonna be a hard game to find, which means if there's a whole lot of copies in rotation, that means it's not gonna go up in price. Whereas Disgaea games, used to be this case. They're really not anymore. But I think Lunar might be a better example of that. But
that's true. I mean, with no DLC announcement, I feel like the trade-in is going to drop. I mean, it could, yeah. We'll talk about. I do want to talk about that stuff in a second because a lot of people are like, "Oh, gonna be no story DLC," and I'm like, "It's because
easy.
Probably
saving up for Spider-Man 3."
Yeah, saving it for Spider-Man 3, or the fact that maybe they did have something planned, but due to the leaks and everything, a lot of things got delayed, and they probably didn't have it in the budget. So, ow, behind us somewhere.
I'm revived. I'm dead.
Oh, okay, come here.
So I'm.
Whoa,
sorry.
dude's
I'm
trying to rocket launch
revived.
me. Yes, thank you. Please put those barricades up.
Don't miss him, buddy.
Hey, we won.
Hey, we won.
Let's go. All right. Love to see it.
Go team.
Holy crazy battle there, but you know, hey.
What? No response?
What?
Shit. No, the guy's like noob. No, easy noob. I was like, calm yourself, kitty cat. No response. I miss those days when people respond salty like. All right, don't start the game just yet.
All right, we'll do it.
That's really quick. A brick.
Yeah, again, I want to go into full discussion later, but I don't know. I'm not really surprised that there's no story DLC for the Spider-Man 2 game. It's like a lot of people freaking out about it and everything, saying like, "Oh, the game's terrible now because it doesn't have story DLC." And I'm just like, I mean, it's always in the eye of the beholder. I like personally for me, Spider-Man 2. While I feel that the story in 1 was definitely better than the story in 2, 2 was still a fun game to play. If you liked 1, you're gonna like 2. The swing, I can tell you right now, the swinging and the changes to how fast you can move and like just loading in and everything like that. Yeah, that is 100 times better than what it is in Spider-Man 1. Just again, simply due to technology and everything. But we'll have to wait and see how the story will pan out going into Game 3. You know, it could be something like, you know, people at first liked God of War 2018 over Ragnarok, but then overall there's like, well, actually, it's just simply a continuation of the full story, and now you basically play them all together, right? So, again, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with whatever the third game is going to have. So, or, you know, you get the people saying like, oh, there wasn't enough gameplay changes and everything. I'm like, it's a Spider-Man game. What, did you expect them to go first person or something? Like, I've never understood those people that are like, the gameplay didn't change enough, so it's a crap sequel or whatever. It's just like, why would you drastically change something like that? Like, you would improve upon what was good and change the things that were not so good from the first game. It's like when, again, God of War 2018 to Ragnarok, where everyone was like, there's a bunch of people complaining about it, and I'm sitting there going like, what? It makes no sense.
What makes no sense?
Oh, how everyone was complaining about God of War 2018 to Ragnarok and saying like the gameplay didn't have enough changes to it or whatever. It's just like, what did you expect from Ragnarok? Going first person?
That'd been cool. I mean, I feel like you can make arguments both sides. Like, you look at games these days, sequels, effectively, they are closer to giant DLC expansions than they were, say, back in, I don't know, the PS3 era. Think like Darksiders. Like, Darksiders 1 to Darksiders 2, humongous difference.
Oh, that was a huge difference.
Practically different games.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Assassin's Creed to Assassin's Creed 2, massively different. Practically two different franchises.
Really?
You all right. I want you to play Assassin's Creed 1 and play Assassin's Creed 2 and then give me that same statement.
Well, okay. So let me explain my reasoning. Okay, so first off, yes, I know. So in terms of the mechanics and things of how they changed, like, you know, having the things from like the dual blades to how you snuck around, how you didn't have to simply sit or be with certain groups to blend in with people, like that stuff was changed, obviously, right? But the concept of the game was still a third-person open world Assassin's game.
Okay.
So in terms of, I mean, you're saying that there were huge changes. There were changes, but they were all small stuff that you would not notice if you never played the first game, or if you did play the first game, you're gonna notice the smaller changes, but you're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, the first game was this Assassin's Creed open world game, and the second game, I'm a guy with a gun, essentially. Like, no, that's not how it works with those changes and everything. I mean, okay, let's look at another change. God of War 1 to God of War 2, the originals. It wasn't that big of a change.
I would argue, I think it is, though. God of War 2 was a vastly better game.
Wait, say
way
that one more
less
time?
puzzles. God of War 1 was a way worse game than God of War 2.
Okay, and so let me ask you though. So obviously going from God of War 1 to God of War 2, right? They improved things like the puzzles. They improved some of the, maybe like the location spots and everything. And maybe they improved how the combat was in terms of your button impresses to when something happened on screen, right? But it was still the same camera angle. It was the same combat, right? Obviously improved, but overall it was still that kind of almost half top down, half third person, you know, just hack and slash game, essentially, right? For better or worse. That's what God of War 1 to God of War 2 was, essentially, right? They didn't reinvent the wheel. They didn't go from God of War 1 to what 2018 looks like. So,
all right, let me flip it then.
Okay, go ahead.
If I told you Ragnarok was a DLC expansion pack in the same vein of, say, StarCraft, I mean, back in the day, PC expansion packs, I don't think it would be you call me that crazy. Like, it feels like an expansion pack.
I don't think it is. I really don't. And you want to know why? At least for me personally, I can see, you know, because again, you get people who complain if something's not over 50 hours, it's considered DLC to them. So whatever. But Ragnarok, the size of Ragnarok itself, that is not a DLC. Everything that they did, from the gameplay improvements when it came to the combat to the story itself, the story alone, I would say, no, there's no way this is the DLC. Then going into the changes that they had for the different weapons that they added and everything, and then going into how they traverse the different realms. I almost said worlds. Realms. Like, no, that is not a DLC.
Worlds are the same thing.
I know. Yeah, that is not a DLC. That is not a DLC. Okay, a DLC adds on maybe, I would say, 3 to 4 hours if you're going for a story style DLC. Let's strictly stay with story DLC. Okay, so the story DLC is adding in this extra, these extra either story missions or these extra side mission things that maybe at the end finishes with a story. So I'm looking at something like the Spider-Man 1 DLC. They had 3 of those story ones. Like, one was like Night Shift, one was focusing on that woman who was from Russia or something like that. So like, those are story DLCs. That's a DLC off of Spider-Man 1. Nothing was changed in terms of the combat. Nothing was changed in terms of how you play the game. You simply went in and you continue to play the same game with some extra story stuff. Maybe they throw in a couple of, new swinging segments that are a little different than what you're used to. But overall, that is just a story DLC.
So I would give you, I'm being a bit disingenuous because I'm comparing StarCraft to Brood War, which was Blizzard at their finest about 20 years ago.
Okay,
so
yeah,
maybe that wasn't the best example. However, I will say I did not, had I played God of War 2018 and Ragnarok back to back, I don't think I'd miss a beat. Whereas I feel like in a game like Assassin's Creed to Assassin's Creed 2, or I don't know, I will be the first person to tell you I'm not the hugest Last of Us fan.
I'm not. I think Last of Us is overrated.
Or even better, Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2. Like, there just seems to be a case of one game feels vastly better than the other. I think this is more of a commentary on just how good 2018 was. There wasn't much to fix with 2018.
You mean going from Last of Us Part 1 to Last of Us Part 2?
No, I'm talking like God of
Or sorry, God of War 2018. You're saying God of War 2018.
I feel like God of War 2018 Ragnarok was a huge jump just because 2018 was just that good. There wasn't a whole lot to fix.
Right, and so
it doesn't get the benefit of having a developer learn their mistakes.
Right,
because there wasn't a whole lot of mistakes
to begin with, but there still were some things that they improved though. They improved the old whole like over the shoulder thing. They backed it up a bit based on that. They worked on the audio cues when it came to Mjolnir. Wasn't it? No, not Mjolnir. Why did I say the hammer's name? Guy in your hip.
Mjolnir's the hammer.
Guy in your hip.
Oh my God.
Namir. That's his name. Namir.
Yeah. Namir.
Namir, you know, telling you where an attack was coming from, better audio, you know, all that stuff. So it was a lot more smaller changes that, average player not going to recognize, just not going to. But they still improved upon things like that. And then again, not to mention the fact just how long the story is. The side missions were vastly improved, in my personal opinion, in Ragnarok compared to 2018. Like I actually wanted to go explore some of the other realms and everything like that.
But at the end of the day, 2018 was never 2018 to Ragnarok was never going to be the massive jump we see with other franchises.
No, it never was going to. But to call it a DLC, that's.
I think to call it a DLC is more of a commentary on how good 2018 was. I think it's a case of just there wasn't a whole lot to improve.
Honestly, I also think the other problem is that the term DLC is thrown around so loosey-goosey now because people think that a simple microtransaction is considered a DLC because it's considered downloadable content, right? Your little loot box you get in Assassin's Creed Valhalla and the the story DLC you get from Spider-Man, those in some people's minds those are considered the same thing technically under the definition. It's just like, oh, come on.
All right, let's take that mentality. Let's think about it. So take Fortnite, when it first came out, but when the Battle Royale, first was quote unquote released versus now. Technically speaking, it's a whole string of DLCs all the way up to this point.
Yeah, they're just seasons, right? Essentially.
Sure. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's what we're going off of at this point. Like, everything is live game. Well, not live. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's it's a platform. Everything's a platform now. That's the whole gist behind every game now. Is always want to make a platform, a 10-year platform. So that's kind of how people take that mentality. Because like most people playing Fortnite that's kind of the game to beat at this point, right?
Unfortunately.
I don't dig it. You don't dig it, but that's just what people play now. And you look at Fortnite, and it's just perpetually just getting better. It's fixing its shortcomings. It's screwing over the end user, trying to extort more money out of it. But that's how it goes. I mean, I feel like I think the whole notion of Herp Derp Ragnarok's just DLC for God of War is kind of also I think a statement on that too. Like I think it's a whole lot of the times are changing, Talon, and we're just kind of watching it happen. I don't know. I'm not like doing any actual work, but I do genuinely enjoy just lobbing grenades onto the platform.
I mean, it's working. There's 3 of them on there. Start toss them out there, bro.
I've been doing that. It's the best. But yeah, no, like I speaking of God of War, I really do hope they don't screw over that Greek mythology remaster remake thing they're gonna rumors are.
Oh yeah, I've heard about those rumors. I mean, I would assume it's cool. Just updated graphics at that point.
Works for me. I just don't want them to go dime me, because I want to play 2, 3, and then PSP ones again. I can live without one.
I bet in today's age, God of War 3 would definitely be considered DLC in a lot of people's eyes. I think it was like 5 hours long.
Yeah, I remember buying that game, pretty much finishing the day I bought it.
I finished it in a weekend. Like I got it on a Friday. I played half of it on Friday and I played the other half on Saturday. And I was just like, yeah, no, okay.
I distinctly remember ripping off Apollo's head. And I thought, damn, that's pretty fucking violent. I feel kind of bad for Apollo.
Dude, Hades, I think Hades is one of the guys who got it the worst.
I feel like after I played Dead Space 1, and I still felt more sympathy for Apollo than I did for Isaac Clarke getting his eye, stuck with a pin. Which is a harrowing scene in any video game. I still felt worse for Apollo. Speaking of which, I still gotta play Sentinel. Oh, baby. Oh, I forgot to bring this up. So, I actually got a game recommendation for you.
Okay.
For everyone on the stream. Hopefully, someone listens to me in my ramblings. I played this game this week that wasn't metaphor. Called Mouthwashing.
What?
And oh baby, is it a fucking trip. So the game, the graphics is effectively like between PS1 and PS2 kind of style graphics. It's very chunky, very kind of weird graphics like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole gist is you're trying to figure out why this captain of this, I'm not sure what you call it, like a long haul like space freighter thing. They're trying to send these items to some distant place in space, whereas a long haul, like a couple years takes to get from point A to point B. And the captain goes insane and drives the freighter into an asteroid. You have to figure out why. And it is a psychological horror that I have not experienced in a very long time. I highly recommend it. It is a fucking trip. And I will give you one spoiler as to where that name comes from, because it's in the trailer of the game. The freight that they're flying across space is mouthwash, and they just keep getting drunk on it.
Oh god.
It is this game is a fucking trip. It's perfect kind of game to play in October. So if you need, it's all like $10. It's like a 3 or 4 hour game. It's not very long. I highly recommend it though. If you want a spooky psychological thriller kind of game. It's grotesque, it's disgusting, and if you're in that kind of shit, buy it. I can't recommend it enough.
I don't think the grenade launcher at 2 feet in front of you is going to help out much.
I tried, guy. I'm trying my best. I gotta get on the platform to make the platform do stuff.
Well, you need to first get them off the platform, so I recommend...
In my defense, there was no one on the platform when I was on it. And they jumped on it. So it was safe when I got on it, but it was not safe when I got off of it. And by got off, I mean dead. They shot me enough times.
Oh god, heavy dude. No! There's too many people around.
Yeah, I don't know what... In fact, I think my teammate killed me.
Careful, up on the hill, up on the hill, guys. Come on. Come on.
So, Hasty Boss is on our team, but for some reason it says it's blue. As in teammate, which is weird. Because they're not my teammate. They're on the enemy team.
Oh, we got eliminated.
But it showed up as, blue. That was weird. But yeah, play mouthwashing. Highly recommend it. It's gross. Best kind of way. That's my game wreck of the week. I gotta play Silent Hill 2 though.
I'm surprised you haven't played it yet.
If Metaphor didn't come out, I would have. Because this is the month to play it. It's spooky month.
Yeah, but the Metaphor's like, ha ha ha, yeah, you're stuck here with us for like 2 months.
Yep. It's between 80 and 100 hours. Yeah, probably December I'll finish it.
Same.
And the worst part is there's a bunch of other RPGs in my backlog. I still gotta play Mario and Luigi. I gotta play the
that
DLC
comes out
for
next week or 2 weeks from now, I think.
I think it's a couple weeks from now.
It's early November, if I remember correctly.
It's already been leaked out.
Yeah. All right, while this loads, I'm gonna get some water real quick.
Bro, ship. It is out the 7th of November. It's like 3 weeks from now. Fall anime season. Black. Oh my god, they're just now on season 3 of ReZero? Jesus. Wait, what?
Okay.
So Talon,
yeah.
Did you ever watch Beastars?
Beastars?
Beastars, yes.
Maybe, I don't remember.
Okay, never mind then.
Why this sounds like something that I wouldn't really watch, but you definitely would watch.
Oh, I've read the manga. It was really good. No,
I've seen pictures of the manga the more I think about it, but I've never really got into it.
It's out of my realm. Like it's more of like kind of a political romance, for lack of a better phrase.
Okay.
It's good shit. It's well made. It's well animated, animated. It's well drawn. Well, but it's definitely out of my usual wheelhouse. But no, I was on IGN, and the best anime to watch in fall season 2024. Dude, Uzumaki. I'm very unhappy right now. Episode 1 of Uzumaki was great. The best. Episode 2, not good. Very bad. And now I'm concerned. Because I fully expect, because it's a miniseries on HBO Max. I absolutely adored the manga. Junji Ito, that was his best shit. Uzumaki was creepy as fuck. And the anime is not good at all. It is so poorly animated.
Careful being down there.
I am a bullet sponge. I exist to move the platform forward.
I'm shooting grenade launchers at you. On you.
I'm now seeing him.
I got your heals. Ow, I'm blind, I'm healing you. Please tell me you get him.
There's no one here. They lobbed it down, my dude. They're cheating. I can't see shit.
Come on.
Come out, wherever you are.
I can't make that jump? Okay. Woo!
Now the Kingfisher navigating towards
I don't think that guy's getting me, so. Bye bye. Whoa, the hell?
Ah,
Platform is contested.
dude.
A contestant has hit a streak, eliminating
Ow, damn it.
Flip the switch and take
Can't deal with a sniper and a medium Gauss rifle.
Revived.
Up on the roof, dude. Maybe don't shoot your barricade.
Ah. So on my screen, it wasn't in the barricade, but I saw it bounce off. I'm like, man, what is this fucking geometry?
The shock and awe have seized control.
Think you need a better PC? It's only logical explanation.
Fella, my PC's better than yours.
Not by much. You have the same CPU I do.
Yeah, but a vastly better GPU.
Well, in most
more
games,
memory.
when most games still use your CPU so much, like I don't think it matters.
Nah. If I open Task Manager up, I'm sure my GPU would be absolutely pegged. Whereas my CPU would be like, yeah, we doing shit? Something going on? I'm at 3%. Gone are the days of Battlefield, my friend.
No, just replaced by other games. As well, I'll never understand why people think that we're gonna see some giant leaps in the next consoles or anything. I'm just like, guys, we reached that back during the PS4 and Xbox One days.
has been disrupting our broadcasts.
Exactly. Like, I don't know why people are so confused by that. Like, current consoles are overclocked versions of what was in the Xbox One, PS4. Like, we aren't looking at drastically different shit like we used to.
Ow. I got bashed in by a guitar.
A guitar.
Yep. Heavy class plus
That's a
top
bit
outfit
embarrassing.
plus guitar equals my head bashed in.
That's a weird ass cob.
Yep.
Incoming frag, watch out! Up on 'em.
Oh, crap. There we go. Oh. Where I'm shooting. House right here.
Right you are, Scotty. There's no time for a break. Anything can happen in an instant.
Oh, you're dead already. I didn't know. Oh
Yeah.
god, the knife dude. Okay, no wonder. Killed by like a safari wilderness person.
Yeah. Cosplayers, man, they ruin everything.
At least we're not dealing with hacks over in New York or whatever.
Position.
Wait, what?
Isn't there some kind of convention going on over in New York right now?
Isn't it Comic-Con right now?
Is it Comic-Con or PAX? I don't remember.
No, I don't think there's a PAX in New York.
I know there's PAX East.
I don't think PAX East is in New York, though, is it?
I would think it is, or somewhere where you get a lot of people to go.
And are moving back to base.
I don't know. That's why I don't pay attention to a lot of these things sometimes.
Frag grenade out.
Sweet PAX East. Hey, I'm alive. Someone
Yeah,
revived me.
somehow. Thank me later.
Why'd you guys revive me? That's more crazy than me. I'm just the figurehead.
Careful,
actually
to your
contribute.
left, to your left. Oh, never mind, never mind. That's a no, that isn't. No, that's not a teammate. I knew I wasn't going crazy. On here, cop behind you, cop behind you.
I did.
God damn it.
Boston. PAX East in Boston.
The shock and awe are now coming home.
Honey, I'm home. Revive
Yeah. PAX East is Massachusetts.
Oh. You can tell I go to it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on in New York right now? Is it Comic-Con?
So far, we've been seeing
Yeah, it's Comic-Con, I think.
Okay.
determination in the
Based
arena.
off of
Said it, Scotty.
Bat Brain's
All our contestants
posts.
laser-focused on one objective.
I didn't realize that SpongeBob's 25th anniversary already, though.
You old yet?
For some reason, no, quite the opposite, in fact. I feel like
And there it is. The
I remember it being not in the 90s. You son of a bitch.
Ah, oh, damn, sniper.
Nations one after another.
I just don't care, like, in terms of, like, packs and stuff. Like, I've been there, did that. Like, this is...
There's a reason I don't go to those public days for TGS.
Yeah, it's kind of boring, man. Like,
Their presence on the platform.
I don't really want to stand in line.
The shock and awe.
I think it's only
You know, when I
fun.
was,
I
like,
think it's only fun if you're not
teenager-
doing the whole standing in line thing and you're with a group of people that you know.
Looks like the laws of gravity are taking
I mean, I
its toll
did that. Even with a
right
group of
now.
people, well, a couple people I knew. And it still was like, this is kind of still, I'm still standing in line for 2 hours, or probably not that long. I mean, I could just wait the extra 6 months to play this game.
The platform's on the move, folks. And
Low gravity's really throwing me off.
It is.
Oh, shit, behind you.
Behind me?
Maybe, maybe. You went up on a building.
Yeah, and I got the sniper that was up here.
Have some juice left in the tank.
There was someone running towards this building, but they didn't go around the way you went. So
There's some people coming up the top on the behind us now. There is one person behind us.
Enemy over there.
Yeah, that guy's just dicking around, I think. He don't think he saw you.
No, he saw me. He was gonna come for me, and he's probably gonna kill me. Yep. Because apparently
He
two
just
blades can
did.
just deflect bullets.
If Star Wars has taught us nothing, Talon, it's that blasters are from an age gone by. Actually, it's the opposite. Lightsabers from an age gone by. It's blasters, the more modern thing, but I'd rather have a lightsaber or a blaster, is all I'm saying.
10 seconds.
Three, two, one.
That's a win.
GG! Winner! Chicken dinner!
Kingfish surfaced with the crown this time in Power Shift. On behalf of all of us here at the finals, thanks for watching.
If you were, Talon, a winner chicken dinner, what kind of chicken would you want?
Like what part of the chicken, or are we talking how you cook me?
Yes.
Yes. Give me the thigh and make
Oh,
sure
chicken thighs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're a thigh guy. Okay.
yeah,
all
the
right.
thigh guy.
The dark meat.
And then make sure it is put it on top of the stove. Don't grill it in the oven. Don't put it in the oven. Put it on top of the stove with some oil. Put a lot of seasoning on both sides, and then cover
So
it with
fried almost.
almost fried. But you're not throwing it into a fryer. Essentially, you're putting oil into the pan.
No, you're not
heating it up.
breading it, but you're frying it with oil on the stovetop. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Do that both sides. Perfect.
Okay. Okay. I was not expecting chicken thighs. We'll say that threw me off.
My wife likes using thighs whenever we cook chicken dishes and everything like that. So
Chicken thighs are a unknown form of food for me growing up because my mom hated chicken thighs. So we'd always have chicken breasts. And it wasn't until I became an adult that I realized how great chicken thighs were.
I eat it.
It's
I eat any, so it doesn't really matter. So I get some more water real quick.
Yeah, chicken thighs are good. They're good. Way less dry than chicken breast. However, chicken breast is the peak protein. Trying to bulk up, keeping fat down, protein up. Chicken breast is peak. The reason why the stereotype is chicken breast, rice, and broccoli. For whatever reason, they don't believe in salt or seasoning.
Your parents?
No, just you never heard that. So the stereotype of if you're trying to bulk up, you know, put on muscle. So it's chicken breast, rice, and broccoli. It's always white rice, no seasoning, broccoli, rinse in the microwave. Maybe if you're lucky, it's steamed, and then bland chicken breast, no seasoning.
Okay, no seasoning on the rice. I get as a guy who lives in Japan, like I don't put anything on my rice. So
well, yeah, I mean for the most part, unless I mean Mexican rice, it should be white or brown. It's just unseasoned, for lack of a better phrase, sticky. But unseasoned chicken breast, man, what? So bland.
That's like beginner. That's like beginner guy who's learning how to cook. Like, oh, I just throw the chicken on here, cook it. Okay, done.
At least put some fucking salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper at the minimum, guys. Like, there's.
Like, and what's crabby about it is it. You could put all kinds of seasoning on it. It's not gonna add calories. I mean, there's onions, there's peppers. You could add those on. Stir fry that shit. You could add spices like sriracha or just paprika.
I'll say paprika, thyme, you know.
Yeah, you go European, go thyme, paprika. You can make more Asian, some soy sauce. Some Szechuan peppers. Something, please.
And that's just the start. Scanning that area.
Suffice to say, I didn't do that shit. I need some seasoning on my chicken.
Got that one. The shock and awe have claimed the platform.
Or if you're cool, just douse it in French red hot. Like you're trying to put on, you're worried about calories, not sodium, and there's plenty of sodium in French red hot, but no calories. It's all good. There's a guy coming.
I know, I'm healing you up first, so.
There was coming.
Behind us.
Oh shit, okay. Run, Forrest, run! Ow.
The shock and awe are in command of the platform and are eyeing their base.
Like half their team is the swords and knife guys.
Disgusting degeneracy.
Got one. Oh god, jeez! Do not get up on that platform. Holy crap.
Explosive push by the shock and
What
awe.
happened?
Momentum's building.
Yeah, they've got like
Fucking
3
knife
turrets up
guys.
there, 3 heavies. Like, yeah, it's. Ow. God, snipers. Dude. Oh, fucking tired of snipers.
Absolute degenerate behavior.
Exactly.
And the shock and awe take over the helm and start to advance to their base. That platform's not waiting around, and neither are the Kingfish.
How is it I always find you with like 2 health?
I get into debauchery. What can I say?
Yeah, I know. Finally, the platform's cleared. My fucking god. Seriously, you and your low ass health. Can't even fully heal you. You actually make my healing beam overheat.
Look, man, my hair has health points too, all right? Guy.
Clearly. Over there in this little area. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Crap, bad time not to reload.
You know, the best part of that gas, you know where that gas came from?
Not from me.
Oh, fucking teammate.
No, fuck that teammate. Oh god, there's a turret on here. God damn it.
Ah.
Jeez. Aim a little higher to actually get on said platform, then you're good to go. Careful too, there's a bunch of turrets up there, so. Okay, one turret down. Oh god, what the hell? I'm getting killed by a sushi chef.
Dude, sushi gross.
Sushi's amazing.
Raw meat? You kidding me?
Okay, raw fish in the States, maybe not that good, but come to Japan, we'll get you some raw meat.
Man, I don't eat seafood cooked. I can eat fucking raw seafood. That's how I get mercury poisoning.
You need to get better at aiming your grenade launcher.
I'm not doing too bad.
I guess maybe the angle of it. God damn it, thought I missed that.
It's more of a case I need to at least do a couple of grenades off to know my angles. What's this dipshit doing? I didn't even know there was a guy next to me. This dumbass was like just not firing at me. That was weird. Like he didn't even unload a whole clip in it. He's standing right next to me and just kind of took a couple of shots, stopped. I just thought it was just some random person. That was weird is all I'm saying. That guy's a weirdo.
I'm very scared being the only person on this platform.
As you should be.
Hey, ETFO, motherfucker. ETFO. And then that happens. Oh, I almost got that guy.
Well, that was bad.
Oh, God. You know what? I did good for being alone for that long. I don't care what anyone says.
Couldn't you have survived a couple seconds longer so I could spawn you?
You can't spawn on me. What are you talking about?
I could have. If you waited a couple seconds longer to die. Cheese and crackers, man.
Oh, God. I want to go up there.
I'm just taking pot shots at it at this point. I don't think there's anyone up there actually though. It's just gas.
Gas and turrets.
Going up there.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, you versus sniper is not a good mix.
No, it very much is not.
Ow, God, gas.
Hey, buddy.
And they're off back to their base. The shock and awe take control. A minute on the clock now.
Time to put their game faces on, Scotty.
God damn it. Gotta get those turrets off the fucking... I'd be surprised if all those missed.
Shielding, hurry inside.
What the F was that?
30 seconds left, June.
I hit the wrong button.
Edge of my
Clearly.
It's all about heart and
Yeah.
determination now.
That was my fire moment.
You know you could just use a scroll wheel and it would just bring you back to your main weapon, right? You wouldn't have to waste it.
Don't tell me good ideas like that.
Grenade out.
10 seconds.
Ha! Ha! Dipshit. They could trick me. 3, 2, 1. Winner! Yay! Winner! That's us. We're winning,
Sudden
right?
death right now. Teammate, come on, revive me. Teammate!
Wasn't me.
An incredible
What
match
a
concludes with the
dumbass!
as the victors. And with that, we'll see you next time at the finals.
We'll see you next time at the finals.
I think that has to be the dumbest blueberry I have ever seen online. Holy crap.
It's like the Seahawks.
Oh god, oh Jesus mother, oh my god. Did you see what I saw? Rewind the stream if you happen to. Just rewind it about like 30 seconds to
Okay.
right before the match ends. So I want you to watch what the teammate does. Okay, watch
All right.
from the moment I die, the teammate goes to the guy that took me out. Just watch
Okay,
from there.
okay.
Just watch from there.
All right. All right, so you're going. I might have gone too far back. So you're going up the rope.
All right, did you watch it?
I'm watching it right now.
Okay.
You're still in the building, so I think I went too far back. But it doesn't matter. Okay.
You do that. I'm gonna get set up for the conversation. We need.
Capitan. All right, all right, all right. You're running towards the platform. You're putting down a jump pad. You
Yep.
jump on the jump pad. You do you pull a lemon and pretty much run right onto a platform you shouldn't be on. Kudos to you. I've trained you well. I feel like you're watching me dick around. Okay. I should go up the rope. All right, so you fill down some gas. All right, all right. Open a door. Open another door. Take some guy out. Zach guy. He's gone. Take
Okay,
him out.
I think you went back really far. Like it should be.
I did.
It
I
should be
really.
right near the end of the match. Like
Oh, now you're dead again. Okay. There's like 2 minutes left. So
no, it should be like the last 30 seconds or something like that.
yeah, I went way too far back. I know. Oh, then you saw me throw the wrong item. Okay, they respawn. All right, so I think this. I think I'm.
Yeah,
I
think you're there. I think you're there. Yeah.
You shot your teammate. Just lobbing frags. Okay. Run towards the jump pad. Jump onto a platform. Oh, not bad platform to jump onto. Okay. Sudden death.
Note that sudden death.
He died. He died. He jumped off the edge. It was too hot for him. It was too hot. He couldn't be in the kitchen. He had to leave. He took the advice. He was like, this is too much for me. I can't do it. Anxiety is too much. I gotta leave the situation. That's unfortunate. But I feel for this person.
Oh, he doesn't get any sympathy from me at all.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God. Like, I saw him kill him, and I'm just like, okay, there's nobody on the platform. There's nobody around. Like, teammate, just revive me. You're good to go. And the dude jumps off the effing platform, and we lose because it's sudden death. Like, God. Dude, it's just unbelievable dumbass with that move.
These things happen.
Happens with blueberries, man. All right. You know the topics we're going to talk about already, right?
What topics? I do. Okay, keep you on your toes. There. I was like trying to find where that was at. Oh, wrong one. There we go. So is it in order as you printed it, or
Just what you see on the screen right now, we'll go with first.
Capitan.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. Do you need any water before we start or anything, or?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm back.
All right. Cool. Okay. Editors. Yeah.
By the way, your screen's black.
On the
that
screen?
Matters. Yeah.
Make sure you're actually on the live section of the stream.
Wait, I wasn't. Let me refresh the page.
Editors, please put that as a like at the end any credit thing or something like that.
Nope, you're good now. Sorry.
But, all right. Anyway, here we go. You guys know what to do. Spider-Man 2 is officially coming to PC only 15 months after its release instead of the normal 2 years. However, there is no story DLC. And the internet, as per usual, is flipping out, right? Because if you guys don't remember, the very first Spider-Man game on PlayStation in terms of the 2018 start of that little series had 3 story DLCs, and then one of the bigger ones was actually kind of spun off into its own game, aka Miles Morales. And then we obviously had Spider-Man 2. And if you paid attention to any of the leaks that came out after Spider-Man 2 was initially released with all of the Insomniac stuff, whether it was the planned DLC stuff, a side Venom game, or even the Wolverine leaks and everything, which we are not going to be showing here at all. I personally barely looked at any of that. It is a little weird that there is no story DLC coming out for Spider-Man 2, especially again when the previous game had some story DLC. But there could be a few reasons to that I personally kind of chalk this up to. First off, maybe the leaks, just simply cause a lot more headaches than we're seeing on the surface, obviously. And it would just take way more time out of the budget. It would cost more money and everything because things had to be delayed due to the hack and everything. And they're just like, you know what? It's not worth it. We're going to take that story stuff and we'll just bring it over to the third game, right? Especially because with a game like Spider-Man, you got to make sure you sell a lot of copies and make a lot of money because those costs go up extra high for these type of games. Especially when we know that the budget for Spider-Man 3, or the cost of it, I should say Spider-Man 2, is like over $300 million or something like that, which I believe they have made back. I mean, last I checked, Spider-Man 2 sold over 11 million copies, maybe 15 million copies. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's sold, right? It is sold well. And so I'm assuming Spider-Man 2 will probably do the same, even though people I know will complain about having to sign on via the PSN and everything like that. And yeah, people say one thing and always do another. That's just the way of the internet, essentially. But I do want to bring up again, just the fact that not seeing story DLC from this, while yeah, it's sad we won't be able to return to this game and play more stuff from the story, especially when we saw things like the ending mission with Carnage and everything, which would make it into game 3 if I had to take a wild guess. We also had some other side missions for other stories like the Chameleon. And so that stuff isn't really here. However, again, most likely the way I look at it is that when we had all of those leaks happen and everything, most likely that put a screw into the cog that is Insomniac. And they're like, you know what? It's just not worth to do it right now due to having to most likely literally stop everything and try to fix everything and make sure everything is secure, which is most likely going to take, a decent amount of time, especially with how companies work. I mean, Lemon, you yourself work as an engineer when it comes to coding and everything. I would imagine that at that type of level of a hack and all that kind of data breach, it's going to take some time to get everything back to the way it's supposed to be and make sure you're still not, hackable, I guess. I mean, would you say that's probably true?
So I'm going to let you know a little secret that I feel like is not being disseminated well enough. A majority, if not all of quote hacks that have happened in the last 5-10 years have not been related to technology at all, and in fact have been related to a thing called social engineering, which is effectively you harass the poor secretary or someone who has access to the network within the place that is not technical. Once you have access to someone's account within the network, you're in. Right. So you don't have to break into a database if you can just go harass a poor secretary or someone who has access to the network but is non-technical, who doesn't know better. Right. And so a majority of these places, I'm sure Sony and Insomniac have gone to these trainings about how not to succumb to these attacks. But I imagine that's how they got in. So brief tangent, I'll admit, but that's probably how they got in. They could have they could have Fort Knox for their servers, but if the poor secretary or the person has to say yeah or nay to get into the building, let someone into their email, then they're in.
So do you think then that maybe the concept of just probably going over budget is probably one of the main reasons for not wanting to do or not doing the story DLC, especially when we know that they were also working on that live service Spider-Man game and having to create that server infrastructure, which personally is still to this day one of the main reasons I think that game hit the $300 million, budget that it had essentially, like, because creating that type of stuff is very expensive compared to just simply making the game, which is obviously still expensive, but when you throw on trying to make your own custom servers and that infrastructure and everything, that takes a long time. And especially now that was canceled, which personally for me, thank God, I don't think it would have actually worked out that well. I would assume that that's probably one of the main reasons, aka money, that we're not seeing any kind of story DLC, and they're just going to throw that into Spider-Man 3 because we know that that third game is coming around sometime. And they're most likely trying to also get Wolverine out because that game is probably going to be releasing in 2025. There's even some rumors right now that they're going to be showing stuff off probably around the Game Awards, but I'm not really sure. But do you think maybe that budget had to throw kind of a wrench into that, potentially?
I'm sure. I mean, I feel like the return on investment for DLCs, especially one that is so, I'm trying to think of the right word for it, just has so much IP attached to it with Spider-Man having to pay up Disney and all that. I think the ROI would probably be a better thing to make a full-blown game as opposed to DLC.
Right.
Probably makes more sense for the bean counters. So I imagine that probably played into their equation. It would not surprise me if they really had no intention of really going hardcore into DLCs, just like saying screw it. Insomniac's a big company, but they're not like Take-Two. They're not Rockstar.
Well, and I do wonder
on their plate, and they're probably working on Spider-Man 3. So DLC's probably not in their.
Well, and I think one thing, at least again, unless the leaks showed this off, I didn't dig crazy deep into the leaks or anything like that, but we don't know how well the story DLC did for the first game, right? They had 3 of those planned, and if they did not sell the way that they had hoped, then why would you try again with Spider-Man 2? Wouldn't it make more sense to simply try to put that into game 3, essentially? I think is the thing I would take away from it personally.
You can't charge $70 for a DLC.
Right, exactly. So instead of and people have to also realize this is not just in games, this is within movies and anything basically. There is stuff that is left on the kitchen table, as they say, where things are cut. Things are they want to put things into the game, but it's just they don't have the time or the budget to do it, and that's where a lot of story DLC comes from. I know people are going to shout like, "Oh, it should have been included in the game" and everything like that. It's like, but you're not understanding the fact of what the budgets do and what they allow for that type of thing. So if they didn't have the ability to put that extra stuff into the main game, and then they were like, "Okay, this had to be cut originally from the main game. Can we do this as a story DLC?" And it's like, well, based on the story DLC that we saw from the first game not doing that well, why don't we just keep that? Because there's probably a good chunk of it that's somewhat made, maybe voices recorded, maybe the very basic look of it is done, but then the extra shaders and everything are not thrown on there yet. Let's take that stuff since it's already halfway done, and we'll just put it in the third game, change a couple of things that chronologically make sense. Or who knows, maybe one of those side missions is the opening mission then for game 3, essentially, right? Whether it's a flashback scene or not. So they could easily do something like that. That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
I would not surprise me if they took this DLC, whatever proposed DLC they might have had in said leak, or just ideas that they had, and just integrated it into 3. Like at the end of the day, excuse me, they got to put this content into Spider-Man 3.
Right.
Does it make more sense financially to put it as DLC, to charge people extra for Spider-Man 2, or just to pad out 3 to add stuff for the open world content for
especially
that.
When a lot of the
it's probably more better investment to do on 3,
right? Especially because a lot of the things that when it came to like the reviews of the game, whether it was from outlets or YouTubers or anything, basically a lot of people said that look, Spider-Man 2 was a good game, but it lacked a lot of extra good side story missions and extra just side missions in general and things to do. I mean, that's why people, you can finish the game in like 18 hours, you can platinum the game in 25 or something like that. So
if you can see my hand, that's me raising my hand. I just mainline the main story.
Right, exactly. So yeah, if it would make, I think, more sense to basically say, hey, look, let's take this extra stuff that, we could make as DLC for game 2, Well, why not just bring it over to game 3 since half of it's done already, or whatever state it's at essentially, and we'll throw that into game 3, and that makes it bigger, and then people aren't complaining about that stuff, right? Again,
exactly.
You then have to then judge it based on how good that side content is, but regardless, financially, I would say it makes more sense to do that. But the big, obviously the good news out of this right now is that because they're not dealing with the story DLC, is that it actually gets to come to PC faster. So PC players should be happy, especially if you enjoyed the first game. If you enjoyed Miles Morales, you'll enjoy the second game. Story, obviously, everyone's going to have their preferences. I personally prefer the first story, but I still say overall, game 2 was fun. It was a fun game. I gave it a solid 8 out of 10. And the fact that this game is now coming to PC on January 2025, yeah, that's cool right there. So it's going to be both on Steam and on the Epic Game Store, so you can pick whichever one you want to play on. It will have all the stuff like New Game Plus, new suits, color variants, photo mode features, and all that cool stuff. So I can definitely see some of the photo mode stuff looking really cool, especially on a high-end PC. And it already looked really good on the PS5, but on the high-end PC, whew, that stuff's going to look really good.
With the ultra-wide monitors?
Oh, yeah, the ultra-wide monitors and everything. Dude, that's going to look amazing. So I'm sure some artists are going to have some fun with that right there. So, but again, I think just in the end, the more I look at this, it's like, yeah, it's a bummer that we're not getting more story DLC, but I don't think it's like the end of the world. It doesn't all of a sudden make the game a crap game because it doesn't have story DLC. It's just simply, if you look at it, how most, developers would, or how teams would look at it, it's just like, okay, look, either we could try to pick this as a DLC, which would then delay other things down the road, or let's just take that stuff, put it into game 3 so that we can get it out sooner. So, especially because we know it will be built only for the PS5, eventually going to PC. It's not going to the previous gens. That's what Spider-Man 2 was, essentially. So they already have the main stuff there. It's built. Now they just simply improve upon everything. So don't be expecting your Spider-Man in first person, people. You know who you are on the internet. We talked about this already, but don't expect huge changes and everything. So I will say, though, I hope that they do improve things like how some of the gadget stuff work. I think that is easily doable. But in terms of it's a Spider-Man game, it's going to be in New York. If you're going to dock it points for saying it's in the same New York, I don't remember New York changing in the last 200 years. So, I mean, that's
I hope they bring back Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
from the OG Spider-Man.
The OG, there we go. There we go.
The movie game on the GameCube.
Oh God,
Bring back Bruce Campbell. Bring back Bruce Campbell.
Oh, that would definitely be funny. All right, that was a good spot to end that. On to the next topic.
Yeah.
This one I'm definitely interested in. Ex-CEO, or the former PlayStation exec says console arms race have plateaued. Yeah.
Look this guy up. What has Sean Layden been doing?
He was early PS3, wasn't he? I think he was early PS3. I think.
Oh, the Ken Kutaragi days. Okay. Pure ego.
I don't know. Double check that real quick. I'm just gonna get some water.
Okie dokes. Oh, this is spicy.
What?
Tell to get back. Oh, you're back. All right. So I looked up Sean Layden.
Mm-hmm.
His Wikipedia page. Sony announced on September 30th of 2019 that Layden was stepping down as chairman of SIE Worldwide Studios, right? Which is effectively what the Guerrilla Games guy is. I feel like chairman of SIE. I think that's how it would go, right? Because no, that's what he was. Guerrilla Games guy. Guerrilla Games. I digress. So he steps down as SIE Worldwide Studios. Journalists at the time believed this may have been due to a result of an internal power struggle with SIE president Jim Ryan over the further restructuring and globalization of SIE. However, in September 2021, Layden stated he retired due to exhaustion, believing the launch of the PS5 was a good time to put a pin in my legacy. Layden announced in September 2022 that he joined Tencent Games as a strategic advisor.
Yep, I remember that.
Oh, lordy. This guy. This guy.
Sounds like something.
Yeah, he certainly has a bone to pick. I'll tell you that much.
Unfortunately, Jim Ryan's not there anymore, so he can't pick that bone with Jim Ryan.
No, I mean this former PlayStation exec says console arm race is plateaued. Like, this guy's about 10 years too late. But
we'll get into some of the comments. I think the headline's a little.
It's very headliney, for lack of a better phrase.
Oh no, it totally is. It totally is. So, editors, if you want to throw that at the very end as a bloopers thing, just what Lemon talked about, go ahead. If not, if it doesn't fit, that's fine. But yeah. Anyway, we'll get straight into this. So. Trying to find what would be a good start this. Okay, I got it. All right. Former PlayStation exclusive Sean Layden has said it's not 80 hours, it's not 90 hours, but a whole different category. What the F is he talking about? Well, the ex-executive of Sony has got some choice words for the gaming industry right now, and there's part of it I actually do agree with, and part of it is just kind of like, is this kind of some clapback after the whole power struggle that happened with Jim Ryan and Sony and everything like that? And look it up if you haven't already. Check out his Wikipedia page. It is a hoot. It is definitely a hoot. But if you guys don't know, obviously, a lot of people over the last couple of years have been making statements about the gaming industry and how gamers will say one thing, and then you have the executives and the heads of big companies and everything saying one side of it. And it seems like nobody can really come to an agreement, even though I'm definitely more on the gamer side of things, where it's like, they just make good games, stop trying to follow trends and everything like that. But we obviously know how CEOs and boards and higher ups and all that kind of stuff work. They just want to make the line go up for money. They don't care how it's done. And especially when people still buy like microtransactions out the yin yang, billions of dollars made every single year. Guess what? They're going to keep trying to do it. Why else do you think you still have CEOs going like, well, Fortnite made this much, so we got to do this instead? And it's just like you know how stupid you sound, but in reality, that's just the way things are. But coming over here to Sean Layden, he had some interviews, I guess, over at Gamescom Asia. And one of the things he was asked was about the sustainability of the future in terms of development costs, consoles, and all that kind of stuff. So the first comment that he makes saying that we've done things this way for 30 years. Every generation, those costs went up and we realigned with it. We reached the pinnacle now where the center can't hold. We cannot continue to do things that we have done before. Layden added that he believes that in order for the console market to remain healthy, we must also appeal to a broad audience and consumers who weren't previously players. It's time for a real hard set on the business model, he says. A hard reset on what it is to be a video game. It's not 80 hours, it's not 90 hours, but if it is, that's a whole different category. So then he continues to go on saying that when asked about the future console hardware, Layden said he believed that a power boost on its own would not appeal to the majority of players. It has plateaued. We are at the stage of hardware development that I call only dogs can hear the difference. Interesting thing to say. If you're playing your game and sunlight is coming through your window onto your TV, you're not seeing any ray tracing. It has to be super optimal for you to have an 8K monitor in a dark room to see these things. We're fighting over teraflops, and that's not a place to be. We need to compete on content, jacking up the specs on the box. I think we've reached the ceiling. And I will say right here, I actually agree with this. We have hit those ceilings in terms of seeing those big graphical jumps from something like the PS2 to the PS3, or heck, even the PS3 to the PS4, or anything like that. we are not going to see these huge graphical leaps anymore. We're just not. I mean, what? Do you want things to start looking like AI made 3D renders of something? No, you're going to call it and be like, oh God, what the F is that? It looks completely ugly and everything. So I think players need to understand that everything happening from now on in terms of how things look, it's going to be things like effects, call it ray tracing, call it particle effects, call it just how fluid the game is and everything. You know, is it at a high frame rate? Is it not? All of that stuff. Okay. So I firmly believe, Lemon, let me know your thoughts as well. I firmly believe we are not going to be seeing any of those huge jumps anymore when it comes to the consoles and what they're going to be able to do. Instead of the PS6 making this huge graphical leap, it's going to be that the PS6 is taking what the PS5 and PS4 have been able to do already, but make it way better so that we have the ability to get that 4K, get, let's say, 90 frames, get all of the effects like ray tracing and everything, and have the upscaling on top of it. That is, I think, what it's going to be doing. But let me know what you think personally, Lemon.
So this pretty much lines up with this thing called Moore's Law. And this is law made postulated, effectively set by a guy named Gordon Moore, who is the co-founder of Fairchild Semiconductor and was head honcho of Intel. Effectively, it states that there will be a point where it's got CPUs will constantly get better and better until they don't, right? And so the whole idea of Moore's Law is dead comes into that. We are effectively looking at a point where the technology is growing, but we cannot actually make games better. We do not have the resources to do so. It costs too much to make HD textures. It costs too much to optimize these engines out. So you're kind of running into a case of you can't make games much better than they were 5 years ago, right? And so the problem then becomes, how do you innovate? How do you make the new fancy, sexy game of the year? And these big developers, these big publishers don't know what to do. Ubisoft tried with their quadruple A games of what was it?
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones. I was saying Skull and Crossbones. That didn't sound right. Skull and Bones fell flat on its face. We had Sony with Concord, fell flat on its face. I mean, look at the front runners of Game of the Year this year. It is a remake of a game that came out 20-ish years ago, 20, 25 years ago. We have Atlas effectively making Persona, but fantasy. And then Astro Bot, which is effectively just a Banjo-Kazooie with a robot. Like, we're looking at, it's just everything's kind of cyclical. Everything's kind of a throwback to older stuff. I think as a whole, the industry is at a crossroads and doesn't know what to do. It's grown exponentially, but it doesn't know how to grow bigger. So it's pissing off the head honchos, the board. And the gamers, us, the people who play the games, are pissed off because they're barely running at a stable frame rate. They're usually fun, and they're just loaded with DLC and ways to nickel and dime us. So as a whole, I get the gist of what Sean Layden's saying, and I mostly agree with it. However, I think his statement of we've hit the plateau, I think, is missing the point. We don't need more technology. We need to drive the cost of games down, and that has not happened. That is the overall problem. The budgets have exploded so high, you can't make AAA games without bankrupting studios if they don't sell 10 million copies. I like to meme about Square Enix and their horrible
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Keep going.
Day in, day out. But there is a point where it costs too much to make a game at the rate they're making games at. Like, Final Fantasy costs too much to make. Full stop. Concord costs too much to make. Full stop. How much did Metaphor cost? I don't know. The game looks like a PS3, PS4 game.
It does. I'm pretty sure they're profitable on it already because they're using an older engine. And obviously, like you said, the game just looks like kind of your PS3 era, maybe early PS4 era style game. And guess what?
That got to save Metacritic.
Right, and that probably saved them a lot on certain things. I mean, heck,
tons.
Not saying this is not any knock against the game or anything like that. It's just simply something I noticed while playing it, is that when you get into certain cutscenes, right, your characters default to their main weapons that they've had since the beginning of the game, even if you have different things on there, right? Because it costs money to do that stuff. So
no, and that's exactly it, and that's the problem. I feel like you see with your big companies, your EAs or Take-Twos, they don't understand that, and they're I can't really cost. I mean, it's really more Square Enix. I mean, they're going to be the whipping dog for this video. I feel like it, because they effectively are the poster child of this mentality that Sean Layden's bringing up. Like, we've got to the point where things cannot look better. But the good analogy is this: it's like the speed of light. As you get closer and closer to the speed of light, the amount of the way the equations work out, it becomes more and more energy intensive. We are getting to the point where it costs so much money to make these games, to make games look immaculate, that it's just not worth the money anymore. And for some reason, I mean, maybe this is like the delay, because everything's like a 5-year roughly development period. Maybe we'll see course corrections in our 4-ish years, but like things aren't looking great for the video game industry. Right. I think
I'm so glad that you A, brought up Square Enix, and B, brought up how long it takes to make games, because I have two things I want to bring your attention to, and I want your opinion on this. So as always, guys, leave your comments down below. But the first thing I want to bring up is, again, the punching bag that is Square Enix, right? As somebody who loves the whole remake trilogy and everything like that, yes, Square, unfortunately, though, they have, like anywhere, crazy budgets, games taking crazy amounts of time to make. Final Fantasy 15, anybody? And that was before current gen right now. The remake trilogy, I will give props to that, at least between Remake to Rebirth. It's only taken 3 years because they kept the same team members together, so they knew how to make it. But anyway, getting back to the first point that I want to talk about, though, is the fact that we see, I almost feel like you have two areas of companies right now. You have the big guys like EA, Take-Two, Sony, Microsoft, and everything, that if a game doesn't sell 15 million copies in the first month, it's considered a flop and everything, right? And then you have other companies over here that, I don't know how big each particular company is, but you have companies like Capcom or Sega, right, who are definitely smaller, right? But they're still a good size, right? They're not indie size or anything like that. And they celebrate when a game sells 1 million units or 3 million, right? And going back to the Square Enix side of things, at least the way I personally look at it, Square Enix is not who they used to be back in the 90s. They are not. I think they still think they are. They still think they're that giant, we made the best looking game at that particular time, and we can do no wrong. If Final Fantasy should be selling, 20 million copies in a month or something like that. I think, honestly, they're kind of at the same area that something like Capcom is in terms of their size and what they should be expecting from their sales and everything. Because we meme on it all the time, right? You see it all the time. Square Enix, says that things were, we projected it to be here, and it fell short of expectations. We all just roll our eyes because we're like, well, no shit. Square always has these super high expectations and everything. But something like Final Fantasy 16, right? That game sold 3 million copies, I believe, in a week or so. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Why isn't that kind of thing celebrated? Well, it's because they still think they're this big ass company over here and everything like that. Not to mention the fact that you still have these boards and CEOs and higher ups, obviously, that's like, well, it made money, but it's not making as much money. Not to mention, I think that a lot of people still forget about this. Even though Final Fantasy 16 did it really well for its own, it did not balance out the failures that were Foam Stars and whatever that real crap game was from beforehand last year, or 2 years ago, I should say, maybe a year ago. Forsaken, whatever it's called.
Oh, Forspoken. How'd you think about Forspoken? That's a great game.
Yeah. So you had those that would dip them into the red, and Final Fantasy 16 brought it back up. But Final Fantasy 16 is not going to have the staying power to just off balance that or to balance that stuff out. It just doesn't. And I feel like Square needs to get their head out of their asses. And hopefully that new, head guy right now is somewhat starting to do that, because they are trying to now bring in, multi-platform releases and everything, which I've said this beforehand. I think in order to actually do that, they need to have a dedicated PC team, because you're still going to run into the same thing. It will release on PlayStation or release on Switch first. And then in order to get it onto PC, unless it's, again, not a terribly crazy game to try and optimize for PC, because there's multiple different ways people can configure PC settings and everything like that, it's still going to take them the same time. If you actually think that, saying, okay, Final Fantasy 17, yeah, it's going multi-platform. It's like, okay, you better hope that they actually have it ready to go on all platforms. Otherwise, it's still going to release in one spot first, and then it will eventually release, right? I could see it being like where it releases on PlayStation and Switch, for example, and then it releases on PC down the road, just like we saw with Final Fantasy 16. Yes, there was technically the exclusivity with Sony and everything like that, but they announced the PC version of Final Fantasy 16 like a year and a half before it finally released. I feel like they probably ran into some pretty big issues with that. But anyway, we're getting off topic with that, though. So that's my first thing right there, is that someone like Square, thinking there's this huge, big company and everything like that. And in reality, they're probably still at the same size of like Capcom. And yet we see Capcom celebrate all these victories. Heck, they celebrated that Street Fighter 6 sold 5 million copies, I believe, across all platforms. And then Square comes in and is like, 3 million on one platform. Could have done better. It's like, again, the logic of that kind of stuff, right? I don't think that's something that can be sustainable anymore. And I think especially higher ups and boards and everything need to start looking at the reality that you can only make it go up this much, or sales and everything are only going to be a certain amount. It'd be like expecting a game to sell 200 million copies on the Switch when the Switch has only sold 150 million consoles. Where's the extra 50 million coming from? So it's
wishful thinking.
Yeah. I mean, like mathematically, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. So
no, it's to appease the board members.
I know, and we've already said that the board members are stupid and they don't understand anything. They just want to see numbers go up, essentially. Like, we get that. Again, capitalism, the whole 9 yards. Like,
graph
whatever.
Go up.
Yeah, number must go up. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think do you kind of agree with that, though? That's, again, using Square as a punching bag here. Do you think they need to, look at reality about where they actually are and everything?
There is a level of ego that I feel like Squeenix really needs to kind of shake off. Like you mentioned, gone are the days where they were, top of the game. They were the developers and publisher of the game that kind of set the graphics of a generation.
Right.
They gone are the days of the PS2 with Final Fantasy X. They should have taken note when Final Fantasy 13 absolutely stumbled out of the gate. They should have took a note after Final Fantasy 15 absolutely went nowhere, and they had to pretty much have that thing live in the bargain bin to make sales.
Yep.
And they should have accepted 16 as being a success, and they shouldn't have waited 10 years and numerous trailers for Final Fantasy 7. Like,
a remake,
it's a whole lot. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Because the remake of that was like a PS3 tech demo.
It was a PS3 tech
one.
demo, and if I remember correctly, they originally actually put Final Fantasy, the remake, like the first game part of it or whatever. They originally threw that over to Cyber, I believe, the makers of like the Naruto Storm games and everything like that. Like, they actually Cyber Connect, I believe, is the
Cyber Connect.
Yeah, Cyber Connect. They gave it to them, and then as that was developed, they looked at it and said, no, we don't like that. And then they took it back and then restarted from scratch, essentially. That's why that first part took so long.
Doing, because I mean, 15 was allegedly what 13 Versus kind of turned into.
Right, exactly. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
As a whole,
yeah,
like the pretty much post PS2 generation, all the way probably up to the PS4, Squeaks had no idea what the hell they were doing.
Oh no, they didn't. I mean,
and they paid.
Look at the Western developers they had, and then they sold them off and everything. I mean, you can tie this all the way back to when the Tomb Raider games came out, right? If you actually look at the sales numbers and everything, they did really well. But Square still said, it didn't make our expectations.
No, it's a company in denial.
It is a company in denial. Now, the one thing I will give them credit for, is that when we went from the remake, so 7 remake that came out and everything, and going into Rebirth / the Integrate DLC. So between when that game released, did the Integrate DLC, and then had Rebirth, right? That was made in 3 years. And why was that? Because they kept the team together. They did not just all of a sudden do the typical normal Square thing where they took that team and then broke them off into all these different projects and everything. No. They kept over 80% of the team. And guess what that does? That allows the people who know the engine, what worked in the game, what didn't work in the game, they stayed together and they're able to make improvements upon it. And we got Rebirth. And this is something I want to give Square credit for, because I feel like this is something that the rest of the industry needs to do. Instead of trying to branch off a team into multiple different projects because one thing does decently well, keep that team together. And not only is that going to keep your prices down because you're not going to be having these multiple different projects coming in. I could be wrong. Maybe, again, I'm not a huge business guy. But the way I would personally look at it is that if I'm not taking, let's just say, the Uncharted team. Let's take the Uncharted 1 team, right? If they at that time decided to then say, okay, however many heads they have of the Uncharted 1 team, you are now each making your own individual projects. We need you to hire a team for each of those projects, and we're going to greenlight them, essentially, right? Or you got to give us a demo or something, and then we'll greenlight it or something. That is so much extra cost right there. Instead of, okay, you guys made this game. For those of you who would like to stay on, we would like to then start working towards the sequel, right? Obviously, they're not forcing them to stay or anything like that. You're still going to have some people leave. Again, the remake to Rebirth analogy, 80% overstayed. I'm sure a few people left. That's normal. When the game finishes, some people like to move on. That's totally normal and everything. But they're not just splitting up all these teams and everything. It's kind of the same thing with like how Xbox deals like their contract workers and everything, right? Where, especially like the Slipspace engine with Halo and everything, people would come in, they finally learn it, but then they're out, and then you've got to train new people. And that takes more time, takes more money. They shouldn't be doing that. So would you agree with that, Lemon, in the end?
So a quick clarification on the contract thing. That's normal in any contract. Any contract.
Right, in any company they do that, but Microsoft always does that to the extreme, I would say. So.
Well, I don't think they're any worse than your Amazons or your Googles of the world.
Right.
However, the problem is now the Outlook has been Outlook for the last 30 years. Google, the search engine, has been the same for 25 years, right? You're not changing things. Games are different each version, hopefully, right? Hopefully, FIFA is the same goddamn game it was on the PlayStation 1. Madden's the same goddamn game it was on the PlayStation 1. However, so it's very difficult jumping between projects like that with contractors. And the thing is, you swell developers before you go, as the project goes on, then you let them go as the project winds down. The problem is projects are going so long, they legally can't keep them on anymore. Right. There was a big thing, and you brought Microsoft. There was a big thing in the 90s about contractors. You cannot legally have them for more than, I think it was like 16 months or something, some arbitrary number.
Yeah, and that's why.
And games now go well past that. So you have to effectively have chunks of contractors kind of going in and out of projects now.
Right, and you have to somehow make sure that they know how to work on the engine and everything, which is why you're seeing a lot of people move over to something like Unreal 5, because they're studying that most likely in school or whatever, courses they're taking, essentially. That's why they're doing it.
For sure.
So, so yeah.
As a whole, though, like the industry, just to wrap it all up, I guess.
Yeah.
The industry as a whole is just not in a good way. Like the way things have been running for the last 20-ish years doesn't work anymore. Games are too expensive now. They're too big in terms of of money, right? Like this is the biggest entertainment industry in the world now at this point.
And I feel like it's gone to their
heads
of
money.
So
yeah, as it should. Like that, any corporation that there's a reason why Amazon's getting in on this. That's why Google did Stadia. There's a reason why there's so many companies getting in on this that weren't there 10 odd years ago. Mm-hmm. It's because it's where the money's at. Yep. So I can't entirely fault them. However, things can't function the way they've been functioning the last 5 years. We have seen that it does not work, and it's pretty much bankrupting a lot of people. We're kind of down to just EA, Take-Two, and the console developer and console manufacturer at this point.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's really shrinking. So things aren't going well. And as people keep, soothsaying, we are in the midst of watching another video game recession, if not, outright crash. And I can't deny that. Like, things are not going well. Plenty of games to play. Generally speaking, though, most of your game of the year lists generally have been indie games the last few years. In fact, that's just going to get bigger and bigger because it's not sustainable anymore.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, eventually they'll hopefully wake up. But like you said, I feel like, yeah, we kind of are headed in that one particular direction. And until some of these higher ups, not the developers or anything like that, but for the most part, because they mostly have their heads on straight. It's gonna be the higher ups until that stuff from the top is, finally recognized. As much as we as gamers will roll our eyes saying like, oh, you just now finally got it. Until then, it's gonna be a hard path for a few years, I would say.
Yeah. At the end of the day, and this you can take this one to the bank. A bureaucracy does not change until it's forced to change. And until these board members see their companies literally just grounding to a halt, they're not going to change. And so companies are going to need to kind of burn before that happens. So regrettably, I think what we're seeing, mass layoffs, and I expect to see more companies go under.
Oh yeah, I expect more layoffs and everything. Yep, I 100%
so course correction, regrettably, in an industry that burns out people like it's no one's business. So we're probably not going to come out too much better at the end of this, but hopefully it'll rebuild like a phoenix.
All right, perfect ending to that, actually. Okay,
I was what I was going for.
I figured you were.
No, it really is. It's got to blow up before it can fix itself. That's how any big corporation is. Oh boy, Dragon Age. Oh man,
I want to talk about this.
These specs are ridiculous to me. Just how bizarrely exponential they grow. This engine's knocking futs, man.
Are they on? What engine are they on?
I think it's proprietary.
Is it Frostbite?
Oh God, I hope not. I hope everyone at EA has dumped that shit.
What engine is Dragon Age Elgard using? Frostbite.
Oh no. That explains a lot.
That explains a lot. Oh, buddy. Okay.
Oh, that explains why it's exponentially growing, because it is. You look at these things, like the VRAM starts with ray tracing on at 10 gigabytes for just your 16.
Wait, you're looking at ray tracing on or off?
On. So it starts at 10.
Right.
VRAM off at 1080p at 30 FPS is all low across the board. It starts at 4.
Right.
But you'll notice it's 16 gigs of system memory across the board. Which is not super surprising. It is 2024.
I was about to say, yeah, something like RAM is not really that expensive, but let's see. Where can I hit recommended 1440? i9 900K. I mean, I got a 1000K, so I'm a generation above that. 16 gigabytes I've got a 3080. So yeah, I could technically hit that.
Yeah, like I'm pretty much somewhere between recommended ultra.
I'm between there as well.
Ray tracing off.
Yeah, ray tracing off. I never turn ray tracing on, dude. That always kills performance.
I can't even hit 4K. Actually, what's funny if you look at ray tracing, they don't even have 60 FPS. It's 30 FPS for RT on, Ultra RT. They don't even show you a 60 FPS.
No, they do. Is RT selective, 1440p
yeah,
60.
That's the lowest ray tracing.
Right. Yeah.
They're not even like, oh yeah, you'll get 60. No, you can't even get 60 with RT on, according to them. With absolute insane specs, you can't get 60 frames.
All right, we'll talk about this in a sec. Let me just get some water and then.
Holy shit, that's ridiculous.
Okay, you there?
Yep.
All right, cool. Game releases on
Halloween.
Yep, Halloween. I'm a little confused. The game was available for preload on Xbox Series S and X beginning October 14th? Why so early?
Because I think they've been gold for a very long time.
They've been gold for a while, but I'm just like, why the 14th, but then everything else is the 29th?
They just want to have it early, I guess.
I guess. Well, I guess you can just stare at the start screen, just counting down for 2 weeks or so. I don't know. Alrighty, editors. This is. Gonna start right here. We'll get right into it. So, Dragon Age: The Veilguard is releasing in less than 2 weeks, and all bets are off when it comes to the expectations for this game. If you guys don't know, BioWare and EA, to some extent, essentially, they've had 2 major flops back to back. And if this doesn't work out for them, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see BioWare like around at all. Definitely for at least 10 years, I would say. But they've been doing everything right, I would say, moving forward with this game. Aside from the initial, I would say, reveal trailer, even developers themselves have said they did not like it. But once they started showing off actual gameplay and their preview events and everything, everyone's kind of going like, this is actually kind of working out really well. And they're also doing a lot of cool things, like not having third-party DRM is absent. They are already Steam Deck verified. I'm pretty sure they've gone gold already, which is pretty cool. And now we actually get to see the PC requirements for this game. So we want to take a look at these real quick, and we want to know your guys' thoughts. Are these requirements good? Are they bad? Are they kind of in the middle? Because there are some additional notes that we're going to talk about here in a second. But if you can look on screen right here, obviously we've got ray tracing off and ray tracing on. Just unless you've got a 4090, just turn ray tracing off. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, it kills your performance. Why have that? But anyway, looking at the average performance, they have for minimum 1080p 30 FPS. In-game graphics settings are going to be set for low. Operating system across the board, Windows 10/11. CPU for this is going to be an i5-8400 or an AMD Ryzen 3 3300X. RAM across the board, regardless, is still 16 gigabytes. The GPU for these particular low settings is going to be a GTX 970. I had one of those over 10 years ago, so that's definitely somewhat impressive. VRAM for that is going to be 4 gigabytes, and then storage is going to be 100 gigabytes, which again, pretty normal across the board. It says HDD support. Guys, get off of that spinning drive. Just have an SSD. They're not that expensive anymore. Like, just get off of it for gaming at least. So, as we continue across the board, though, you can see things like 1440p 30 FPS or 1080 60, combination of some high graphics settings, Intel i9 9900K, NVIDIA 2070 for that kind of stuff. Going into Ultra, we see obviously 4K 60. We see Intel i9 12900K or an AMD Ryzen 9 7950X, 4080 for a GPU or a 79 XTX for the AMD side of things. So we're seeing some, overall not terrible specs, I would say, in my personal opinion. Do keep in mind that this game is being run on Frostbite. And if you've not played a Frostbite game in quite some time, maybe you played Battlefield like we did back in the days, that is definitely CPU heavy in terms of how it works there. So keep that in mind. The final note I'll make before I turn it over to Lemon here is that it does say at the very bottom, AMD CPUs on Windows 11 and AM4 motherboards require a Agesa V2 1.207 or newer, aka I think your BIOS update. And then going from there, we've got RT Selective, so Ray Tracing Selective, which is over here on the right side, enables ray tracing features in certain areas that can be best take advantage of this feature. And then finally, average performance estimates including the use of optimal upscaling. So do keep in mind that even though we have these right here, upscaling in some areas are going to be turned on, which I feel like a lot of people do use these day and age, unless I guess you're some hardcore purist who says upscaling is the devil's work and everything. So, it is what it is. But Lemon, what are your personal takes on all these PC specs right here? They're definitely, I'd say with ray tracing off, they're not terrible, but knowing that this game runs on Frostbite, which is definitely CPU heavy, makes sense why we're seeing these pretty big, changes in between each set recommended settings and everything. What are your personal takes on this as a code monkey / programmer?
Upscaling's the devil's work. I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Frostbite being very CPU intensive. You look at the core accounts on the ultras, either ray tracing off or any of the ray tracing. A lot of cores. A lot of cores. Like, I remember back in the day, I was pretty pumped getting a quad core CPU. I thought it was pretty hot shit. And now my current CPU has 20 logical threads. So I think this game is gonna run like ass though. I mean, I feel like it's crazy to me how we're at the point where our VRAM is nearly at the recommended system memory. Like the Ultra ray tracing off, 16 gigabytes of system memory and 12 gigs of VRAM. Like, what is going on? Why do I have a combined of 28 gigs of RAM? Like, what's going on, guys? Like, that's weird. But I digress. Just how bizarre I find current system specs. I hope this game runs well. I really want this game to be good. I feel like these specs are very much kind of exponential in growth. In terms of the RAM is consistent 16 gigs across the board, which is interesting. Same with storage. It's only the VRAM and kind of the CPU is going up. I mean, minimum to recommend on ray tracing off is kind of a big jump, but I don't think the recommend ultra is that big of a jump. And for CPUs, for GPUs, it's not that huge of a jump going from recommend ultra. Ray tracing on is really interesting because they pretty much say F it, we're not even gonna try for 60 frames. Like RT on 1440p 30 frames, RT on 4K 30 frames. Like guys, like I can make the joke all goddamn day about the whole human eye can't see more than 24 and a half frames a second. It's more cinematic. Herp derp, memes go here, but this is not it. Like we in a previous we were talking about the plateauing effect. We can't keep doing this shit. Like, this is ridiculous. 30 FPS on a $3,000 system? Are we kidding me? Who are we kidding? Like, this is ridiculous. FrameGen exists. Why do I have to dick around with 30 FPS? Like, everything's AI assisted at this point. Why do I still have 30 FPS? And it probably has to be down rendered then upscaled before it gets to your monitor. Like, what? Who are we kidding here? This is insane. All right, and rant. I'll probably play this game. If I don't play it on console, it'll probably be on ray tracing off, probably somewhere between recommend ultra for me.
Well, it'll be interesting. So for anyone who's, for I guess kind of a look at how we personally can play this game if we choose to play it on PC, is we're in between the recommended and ultra of ray tracing off, I believe. We both have an i9 10900K CPU. We have 16 gigabytes of RAM easily. I think both of us have 32.
I actually have 64 now.
Okay, you have 64. Again, showing you just, again, RAM's not that big of a deal.
Wasteful.
In terms of a graphics card, I'm at a 3080 personally, and Lemon, you're at a 7900 XTX, if I'm correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Top end AMD.
Right, so top end AMD, SSD, storage, whatever, that's child's play for us. So
yeah.
So we're in between there technically with this stuff. But again, it is going to be interesting to see how well this game runs, because during some of the previews, they did say that it still looks a little rough in terms of being, graphical and fidelity wise and everything like that. I'm curious how this is going to run on the consoles, right? How is PlayStation 5 going to handle this? How is Xbox Series X and S going to handle this, especially S, like anything, because S is, 8 gigabytes of VRAM? If I remember, 6, 8?
It's 8 gigabytes of unified RAM. So
unified RAM, so shared, yeah. And the minimum specs of this game are saying 16 gigabytes of normal RAM.
So together be 20.
Right.
So just to put it in perspective, I'm pretty sure both the PS5 normal and the Series X both have shared 16 gigs.
I believe they do,
so
yes.
They're sharing their system and VRAM. So together they have less than the minimum on PC.
Right. And then you want to throw this onto the S as well.
Yeah.
Oh boy, there's gonna be a lot of upscaling right there. So and again, getting back to the Unreal Engine has definitely been very it's never been very reliable, mostly made for first person shooters. So this is gonna make some PCs chug, I feel like. And then definitely the consoles. Again, I want to know how this thing runs. Some of the previews are saying, again, this is not running the greatest. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen here.
This isn't even Unreal. This is Frostbite, which is even worse than Unreal.
Oh, it is, yeah. Sorry, did I say Frostbite or did I say Unreal at some point?
It's Unreal. You brought it Freudian slip, I guess, but you brought up a decent point. Like Unreal 5 runs bad. Yeah. Frostbite is going to run even worse because it never ran well. Yeah. Frostbite has always been an absolute dog on a console. Just terrible on a console.
It is.
And they're going to try to running out here. Look at these specs. Like this is not going to run well on a console. When this comes out and it gets decent reviews, I'm buying it on console. And I guarantee you I'll be lucky to get 720p upscaled into 4K at 30 FPS on my PS5.
I'll be lucky. Easily. Funny enough, this game is going to be PS5 Pro enhanced, but I don't know if that's really going to make a big difference. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm curious because especially when I saw the trailer during the latest, I believe it was the Sony State of Play, the one that we saw in September. I'm actually excited for this game. I think the game looks like a lot of fun. When I saw some of the previews and how kind of the combat was working and everything, it looked like a cool mix of some Dragon Age from beforehand, kind of combined with the Final Fantasy VII Remake / Rebirth combat system, where you slow things down, you get to choose things, and you're moving in real time. I actually really like that kind of concept and everything. But I am, again, worried about performance. And I'm not saying that the game, and when I say performance, I'm not talking about the game looking the most beautiful, 8K, 120. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about it running. Is it chugging? Is it stuttering? Is there clipping? All of that stuff. That's what I'm worried about. Right? So, like Lemon here, I'm definitely worried. I myself will be buying it on the PS5, even though I know my PC can handle it. It just simply makes it easier in terms of my setup for like doing videos and recording and everything. Unless I see in the reviews that the console version runs like absolute garbage, then I will buy it on PC. Absolutely. But I'm scared. I'm definitely scared in terms of the performance of this game. The game itself, just looking at the game, like the story and all this other stuff that you're going to be doing in it, it actually looks fun. It actually does. I hope it does well. but I am worried about the PC requirements and just how this is going to run on consoles. Like we said, even base PS5 and Series X, I fear for. S, I definitely fear for. So it'll be interesting. I mean, the fact that this game, it is Steam Deck verified, which is unusual to hear this.
Insane.
Right. But again, even looking at these specs and what we know that Steam Deck can do, that thing is definitely going to be pushing like what? 15 frames, 720, maybe at all low settings. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen here. It will be interesting. The game releases in 2 weeks, a little less than that. Halloween, basically. At least there's no DRM.
Which is weird.
So, that's cool.
I don't. Anyone else find it weird that they're releasing it on Halloween? Like, this game has like the makings of just kind of pushing out the door. And then we have previews like, this game is great. I'm getting very like mixed vibes. Like, the game plays well, but EA is pushing it out on Halloween.
Yeah, I think they're probably just at the point like, you got to get this out now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, essentially.
Yeah, I don't. This whole run up to this game releasing has been bizarre. So I don't know what's gonna happen.
All I can say is that in less than 2 weeks, we're gonna know. So make sure you guys check back then, and we'll give you guys an update on this because it is going to be interesting, to say the least. All right, man. Well, I'm assuming you probably get going to bed. It's 10 p.m. your time. So I think it's like a perfect place just to kind of stop everything. So
I have to go to freaking work. I want to play more Metaphor.
I gotta get the next guide ready to go. Gotta write that script and everything, and maybe get to play a little bit tonight, but maybe, just maybe.
So what's the next one then?
The next boss is gonna be that Minotaur style guide to get the
because you beat Human Egg and Scale.
I just beat that. Yeah. Then my teammate has gone like 4 or 5 bosses past that, so whatever he has, I'm just gonna start writing the script.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today in our usual weekly live streams. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit that follow button or that sub button, depending on where you are. If you happen to be watching this in video format or you see some of our clips later on, definitely check us out. Check